What's going on, everybody? It's your boy DropnHItz, and I'm back, sadly, with the last episode of this season, 60 Days In. But that's all right. That's all right. I got much more in store. Be on the lookout. We're going to start doing Behind Bars Rookie Year. We're going to do some live PD. We're going to do some Beyond Scared Straight. If y'all got any suggestions for any shows y'all would like me to react to, please leave them below in the comments. Before I get into the video, let me remind you guys, I am still going to live stream on Twitch, so please do give me a follow over there. Link is below in the description. So with all that out of the way, without further ado, let's drop right into it.
So what do you make of what Ashley's saying about you?
I think that she's full of because she was all in my face and trying to help. And, oh my God, how's your foot? And let me get you some oranges and let me get that. So I don't like fakeness. If you don't screw with me, don't screw with me. But don't talk about me behind my back because I don't do fake bitches. I don't.
I did get you oranges.
You did, a lot of them. You did. You got me more than that. You got me the Kool-Aid packs. You got me more
now
than
they
that.
laughing.
I am disappointed in myself for talking about you behind your back, and I do apologize for that. I can't imagine how that feels. I was very disappointed in the pee thing. That was a big deal, and that was my turning point towards you because at that point, I felt that you were no longer on board with the program, and I didn't know how quick that was. I thought this was some sort of a plan that you had concocted.
No, and let me say this.
Well,
Angel
maybe instead of talking about her behind her back,
She did.
I got
like,
foods,
yo,
I got
get some
everything
explanation from her.
I got hygiene products, and so it was a very uncomfortable position. But like I told them, as soon as it happened, I let everybody know.
I would have peed for somebody like you. I peed for people in my real life.
What?
Yeah.
But I don't
Alex,
think you
just
should
be
have
quiet,
threatened to blow up the program. You know, I'm not going to defend that either. So I see both sides of it.
That's fair.
Let me bring law enforcement into this.
Did this man just say he
Chief and
peed
Sheriff,
for
how big a deal is it what Shanice did with De'Aaron?
Well, it's a big deal,
Did he
obviously.
pee to win the dodgeball
And
championship?
I don't understand. I've had to get people to pee for me. I'm just kidding. But, certainly, I think that it would be tough for anybody to come and do this program. But if you had special diets and diabetes or gluten or things like that, I don't know that I'd have done the program, you know. And I get why you did. You want to bring attention to that kind of thing. But I'm sure that affected, you mentally and how your emotions play out.
Yeah, obviously.
So, tough situation brings out tough things, but I would be zero tolerant on the peeing thing.
So you may have all noticed that there is one participant from the special ops who is missing.
He don't belong
and you're
there.
Probably wondering what had happened to him. So we're ready to answer that for you. Let's bring out Mark.
Yeah.
Mark, welcome.
Thank you.
Let me just start off by asking you why you wanted to do this, why you wanted to be part of this special ops program.
I thought with my experience in law enforcement, my years putting people in jail, I thought it'd be a good idea to understand people what was I putting them into.
At training,
All you
Mark
gotta do is
was
watch
met with some
MSNBC,
doubts about
lock
completing
up.
the program, but he was determined to prove everyone
Watch
wrong.
videos on YouTube.
Let's see what happened.
Have anybody ever been locked up before? No?
As a kid.
Okay, so when we go in the pod, they're gonna be judging us the moment we walk in, right? They're gonna look at you. I'm gonna just watch your body language, see how you move. I'm gonna take whatever I wanna take from you when I wanna take it. And I say this, I don't say this jokingly. I do see someone picking you out because you're sitting back with your hands crossed and you looking like you're an easy target. Honestly, he's the only one I'm concerned about. I think he's gonna become a target and possibly not be able to finish.
He was right on the money, too.
I felt what he did was disrespectful. I am more than capable of handling myself. You don't have to like me, you don't have to think anything of me, but at the end of the day, I'll be the winner of whatever situation I'm put in.
I wonder if he stayed in, would they be having beef, though,
Let's talk about
because of
Mark.
that? If he never
Mark
tapped
seemed
out.
extremely nervous. It's like he's sitting, I see him when he come down, so he's just, like he's a recovering addict or something. Yeah, you nervous.
That's probably what it was,
It's
too.
literally all over your face.
I think we called him out on
I'm
that
feeling great
before.
about the mission. I feel that I am going to be able to be successful.
I'll see what I can do, all right? Hey.
But I have a serious problem. Pretty much since I laid on that bed Friday, my back's killing me. My head's just like the constant migraine hasn't subsided. And I figured there'd be some adjustments.
Damn dope
but
heads.
My body's just not handling it. It really sucks.
So how does it feel to watch that?
I know how it looks there, but that's not gonna portray what it really is.
What do you mean you tapped
It
out?
wasn't hard in there. Nobody cared where I was from. No one cared about the story. And what sucks for me is, physically, I thought I'd be able to do it. I thought it was in a good spot, and I wasn't able to.
Tony, why did you doubt Mark from the start?
I was right?
Apparently.
Okay. Because we're sitting down talking. Just like I said, he's real fidgety, nervous, jittery. Honestly, me personally, I feel like you use a back injury or an injury just so as a way out. I had a back injury. I was in pain. Donovan either. He even had something going on. So, and I'm sure the ladies, they had something. So I don't know how much pain you were in, but to me, it's, me personally, I ain't buying it.
I can assure you, you have no idea what my pain is.
Right.
You have no idea what my body's going through.
Oh, yeah.
No one does.
You don't know my
But
story.
The thing I wanted to address with you is before we ever even met, before we even spoke to each other, you're sizing me up because you wanted to say something. The last thing anyone ever does in law enforcement is judge somebody else. That gets you killed.
He was trying to help you.
No. That's not what it was.
That was straight up.
Yeah, he was letting you. He was trying to prepare you.
That's what I mean about you wasn't ready. Like,
Man,
no one
this
else
dude-
took
We were
offense but
offended.
you.
Didn't take
Like,
it personally.
Yeah,
you
we
took
weren't
it personally
offended.
because you have issues you need to get straight before you come and try to do this.
Get him,
I
Tony.
came at Vanessa the wrong way. I came at Heather the wrong way. I came at Donovan the wrong way.
But you didn't, though. You were. You said what you said about
see
you.
what
I
we
just
just
watched
seen?
them.
Okay, I'm just.
No one else was. I'm gonna take your stuff. I mean, you don't.
This dude's a
Hey,
little.
that was his way of saying you're probably
Oh my
you broke that
God,
real quick
man.
Before we get put in jail. That's basically
And
what
then,
he said.
and us having this conversation is proof that what I said was true. So
It wasn't.
Next
No one-
Man, get him
no one
off the
took my stuff
stage,
to
man.
one
He
point.
just.
I left
wrong?
early. Nobody
Oh
was
my
taking
God.
my stuff. I didn't leave because I was afraid of somebody in there. That's not why I left.
did you tap out?
I tapped out.
Okay, I was right.
Yeah.
Next question, please.
I mean, when it comes down to it, yeah, he was right.
Did you tap out?
I tapped out.
Okay, I was right. Next question, please.
So, Mark, I want to make sure you get an opportunity to specifically lay out
He mad as
what
hell.
happened.
It was the first night trying to go to sleep where people are screaming, they're going crazy. There's nonstop all night long, the echo, but the light being on all night. And it was after the second night, it just wasn't stopping. It was just a constant pain, constant ringing in my head. So I knew I had to get out of there.
But you do understand everything that you're saying is like, that's just normal jail activities. You're saying you can't sleep. I'm like, was we in the same pod? I'm just trying to figure out what did you experience different than Donovan and I.
I knew what to expect. I knew it was going to be loud. I knew it was going to be like living in Gitmo. I knew that. Okay, that wasn't the problem. Okay, when I got in and the spinning of my head when it stopped, that was my problem.
We're being compared to Gitmo now?
I was
Oh,
just going to say,
damn.
I'm sure you guys are thrilled that you're being compared to
Yeah, I mean, wow.
Yeah.
And I mean, the women are
Bro,
a
these
whole lot
dudes do
meaner
not
than
like
men.
him.
Just be lucky you weren't in our pod.
Yeah.
It only lasted one day.
They do.
Whoa.
Yeah, we didn't sleep at all.
Welcome back to 60 Days in the Aftermath. We're here with both groups of participants from Phase 1 and Phase 2. Are there things you're wondering about what the others were doing? Or
Hell yeah.
found or
Yeah, who are you guys?
Who are these guys?
Yeah.
You know, I had no clue it was a second team. Just want to know why did they bring a second team in, or just kind of understand that reason.
Well, let me ask the
You
chief
feel
and
you
the
didn't
sheriff,
do anything?
why do you think this was important to use special ops as opposed to civilians?
Well, they have a background in law enforcement. They know what to look for. And some of the changes that we had already put in place, we wanted to see if they felt like they were good changes, because we told them what the changes were prior to them going into the facility.
All right, so there was one participant, it's the first time this has ever happened on the series, who went back into the jail after leaving the facility, and that participant was Tony.
As you
He
already
went
knew.
back for a second round. I'm looking at Dennis's face.
So they don't like
looking
that.
at him thinking,
Yeah, he
Are
went
you
up to you,
crazy?
buddy.
Nah, it wasn't that. It was.
No, Dennis is thinking, why didn't they pick me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what he's really thinking. See, that's why I rock.
I gotta do that. Yo, hold on.
See, why you got it?
I get it though. Tony the
Come on,
ops, you know what
Dennis,
I'm saying?
man.
Tony on the other side. I don't play on that side, but I get it now. It makes sense.
Tony, which Which
You gotta
was
do everything
harder,
Tony
phase
do.
1 or phase 2?
Phase 2.
They're only 30 days, though.
Yeah, phase 2. Phase 2 was definitely hard. Why? Because I had the luxury of being the team leader. You know, I felt a sense of obligation to, you know, their safety or to reaching out to people, making sure they're okay. As opposed to the first phase, I knew who everyone else was, but they didn't know exactly who I was.
Tony went in determined to be pod boss, but did he go too far? Let's watch.
Store runs on Tuesday. Today is time to collect. When an inmate owes another inmate for store, they get beat up pretty bad. Oh, man. This guy named Anthony, I gave him some grits because the man said he was hungry, so I fed him. And he said he was gonna give me 3 soups in return for the 3 packs of grits I gave him. But come time for him to pay me back, nothing. I don't necessarily want to put my hands on the guy, but I will if I had to. There's a fight waiting to happen.
Look at Dennis's face.
Give me all your clothes. I want all your clothes. I want everything. I want your socks, I want your shoes, I want your pants. Now, at that point, it was like no mercy. Like, you lucky I left you with your drawers, you know what I mean? I should have took them, to be honest. At this point, I'm thinking I should have took them. I came here under the impression I'm an inmate. The COs think I'm an inmate. The inmates think I'm an inmate. So I'm gonna do what an inmate does.
Tony, you think you went too far?
No. No, not at all. I could have done more.
You think you should have done more?
Yeah, absolutely.
You had a whole business going.
Right.
Yeah.
That was part of the game.
He
That was
did.
part of his thing.
Right? I mean,
Yeah, I was running a store.
Yeah.
I was a store.
Yeah. Did that concern the two of you, that Tony was effectively in business there?
Well, it goes back to nobody in this room stopped to think how much problems that caused for the deputy, how much stress. You know, biggest part of the stress in there is store.
But
You know?
who runs the store?
Sounds like the inmates.
No, the jail is the one. The store.
No, but see, you're
What are you
getting
talking about,
lost
Heather?
in it, though. The
I'm
problem-
lost in it?
Yes,
You want to come to
because-
my facility, sir?
I mean, don't get defensive. We're just having a conversation.
I'm not the
We're just having a
defensive one.
conversation.
The store runs that place because there's no limits. Everyone gets anything they want. So those are allowed to happen
So the inmates are okay to break the rules.
because the staff aren't stopping it.
So it's all the inmates, correct?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. What I'm saying is the store needs more limits. If you put a limit on what people can order, then he can't come spend his $500 and run. That's what I'm saying,
That was the
sir.
problem with Angel. She had over
That's my
$1,000
point.
in her book.
That's my point.
Tony, let's talk about phase 2. You had a cellmate named Chad, and you had suggested to him to go steal a crossword puzzle book, and he was sent to the hole. Why are you shaking your head?
Like when I went in trying to help people, not, I'm not gonna say necessarily set them up.
No,
because
you
they're
went
gonna
in
do what
there
they're
playing.
gonna
You
do.
didn't help nobody.
But when you go in the facility, you know people have mental health issues, they have drug issues, and I almost feel like, I mean, I don't personally know you, it almost feels like you were adding to that. Hinting, not saying go do that, but yeah, you know I want that. And you know how people feel about you. That's why I was like, because I didn't think that I would see you do that. So I was like, whoa.
So let me explain. So first phase, that wasn't the case. Second phase, any CEO that could be compromised, I tried to bribe, I offered money, I offered cash, anything. That's
But at the expense of another inmate who you know is struggling with things, whether it's confidence, whether it's self-esteem, whether it's drugs, whether it's any of that, do you feel like you compromised them?
He went behind the desk and grabbed soap 1,000 other times, to be honest. Just so happened, he asked me if I wanted a crossword puzzle book, and now Sarge was looking at the camera, and they rush in and take him to the hole. I mean, I'm a real person, and so if you ask me if that bothered me, no, it doesn't.
Let me ask Donovan. Donovan, you're an undercover officer. What do you make of it?
There's a lot of things that Tony did that I kind of questioned. Did he take it too far? That was one of the things. There's a few other things, but he actually helped that kid. That kid was getting beat up. He was getting taken advantage of. They was taking his trays daily. And I'm not like beat up. It's not like
And they didn't
you know,
show
it's a
all
punch
that.
in the face. They was like torturing that kid. So Tony did use him as kind of a pawn to help him, but he also never missed a meal. He had plenty of extra on store day. Tony was taking care of the kid.
Tony was always
There you
testing
go.
boundaries. At one point, the
They only
handcuffs
showed one
became
thing.
real.
I said, hey, if I get tased, I'm okay with that. So when I tell you I'm going to push your COs, I mean what I tell you. When I'm on the phone, and all of a sudden they just click the button, and now they hang up on my phone call, that's really pissing me off. Jermichael, I feel like he's a horrible CO. He say we got 20 minutes to eat. We end up getting
Should
like
have brought
10,
Jermichael
15.
on there.
And I know I ain't tripping because he's the only CO who be acting like that.
Jermichael. All right. They should have brought him into the reunion, man.
He said something along the lines of, I've never seen you here in Gaston and this and that. He's trying to say like, oh, you 60 days in. So now I'm about to slaughter him now. I'm about to come at him harder now.
He got scared. Not Tony, but the CO. He got scared.
Just walking out the cell, people looking. So the first thing I'm thinking is, what's really going on? Like, where are you taking me? I'm thinking like, all right, it's time to hang it up.
What happened, Tony?
CO Jermichael and I, we had words. He was insinuating that I was 6 days in.
Did you not just watch it?
He said what he
Mr.
said.
Crypt Keeper?
I said, and being that he's the CO, I end up going to the hole. And that's pretty much.
How long were you there?
Couple hours.
What did you all make of this particular chief?
Well, they originally called me when it actually happened. Our female side officer called me and said, how do you want us to handle this? And my exact words to her was, I said, you follow our use of force policy to the T. If you have to use force, follow our use of force.
And I was open to that. I made that very clear. I said,
and Tony knew that going in.
Yeah,
He
I was cool.
What was coming.
And I let the sheriff and them know. I said, hey, if I get tased, I'm okay with that. If I get pepper spray, I'm okay. I'm not against anything. So when I tell you I'm going to push your COs, I mean what I tell you.
Donovan, you were there when this happened with Tony. You think he was out of line?
No. There's a lot of things I've seen Tony do that I would have done personally, but I knew his strategy. And I knew what he was testing and why he was testing it. He took the CO to the level right before he got pepper sprayed. If he got sprayed, like Tony said, he had it coming, but he didn't. He pushed him to the point where the sod would actually come in. And then the reason he was doing that, because he wanted to see how the sod team reacted. And if what I can remember what Tony told me, he said, man, they acted 100% appropriately.
Yeah.
Sheriff, Chief, anyone from phase 1 or 2 exceed your expectations?
Tony?
I would say they were all equally important.
That's not what you said in
participant here
phase
all
1.
provided a wealth of information that went toward making us a better facility.
Through this whole process, Tony and Donovan, to me, they was two of the best. They was able to go into the situation and tell me the bad things that the inmates were doing and the officers. They was also giving positive feedback on the officers. They was giving positive feedback on the inmates. So they gave us information like that, and I appreciate that because it wasn't all bad.
Sheriff, once you informed your staff
what about me?
that 60 days in had been there, how did they respond?
A lot of them were disappointed. Some of them felt like it would be embarrassing. But on the other hand, if it saves one officer, if it makes a difference in one inmate's life, and it has already done that, then it helped us be a better place, and we're thankful for that.
Chief, was the program a success?
I believe it was. I mean, if we got one thing, one bad officer, one thing changed out of this whole process, I consider it a win.
I will say this, that I had the luxury of seeing was first phase and second. From first phase to second phase, I will say 110%. Trust me when I tell you, they made a lot of changes, a ton of changes. So, you know, just with the negative feedback collectively that all of us was giving the sheriff and Chief Pete at some point, for a sheriff to be able and a chief to be able to take negative criticism like that about their facility, that says a lot. So that's why I feel confident when I say that, you know, I feel like they're going to do an amazing job. Time to come.
I agree.
Show of hands, would any of you do a phase 3? Raise your hand if you would go in again.
Man,
You know Alex ain't raising his hand, nor Shanice.
I'll go in again after this air.
Tony ain't scared of
So
nothing.
thank you,
I like Tony,
Sheriff
man.
Horton, Chief Peak, and
really
to
do.
all of the season 6
Definitely gotta get that
participants.
interview with him.
This has been 60 Days in, The Aftermath. I'm Dan Abrams. Good night.
I'm Crypt I'm Crypt Keeper. Good night. Right. Well, that is it, folks. Season 6. We are done. It was a wild season, man. I enjoyed it. I know you guys did too, man. I cannot wait for season 7. No idea when that's coming out because they're saying they had to stop the production because of this whole coronavirus thing. So maybe sometime next year, but probably not in January like we're used to. But at least we know there's a season 7 being made. I'm all stuttering. But I'm emptying my ashtray, y'all. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, man. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new. I'm debating whether I should finish season 5. Because I think I need to do like 5 more episodes on that season. But let me know if you guys want to see that. If not, I won't do them. And that's about it, guys. Until next time, I love you guys, and as always, I will see you on the next video.
Oh, there he goes. Wait,
oh.
Wait. Oh, I'm confused. Oh, that's a straight head. Well, I don't know.
And what was it again?
This man is some bullshit.
Oh.
What the fuck? This man's on some bullshit.